Every level of MMA grappling explained. Level 1. Level 1 is atrocious grappling. And I'm not talking about fighters who are just a little uncomfortable on the ground or prefer to keep it standing. I'm talking about fighters whose grappling is so non-existent that their entire ground game consists of praying that they can muscle their way back to their feet. These are guys who look completely lost the second the fight hits the ground. And the king of level 1 grappling is Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis barely has any jiu-jitsu. His grappling defense is just stand up. That's literally what he's known for. His entire ground game is using pure raw strength to bench press his opponent off of him and get back to his feet. Just brute force. The crazy thing is, it actually works sometimes because Derrick Lewis is so freakishly strong that he can just power his way out of positions that would finish most fighters. You can have him mounted, you can have his back, you can be in side control, and he'll just stand up anyway. But here's the problem. Watch what happens when Derrick Lewis faces an elite grappler. Daniel Cormier took him down and submitted him easily in the second round. Because when you face someone who actually knows what they're doing, strength alone isn't enough, and Derrick Lewis has nothing else. Level 1 grapplers survive in the UFC for one reason. They're so good at something else that they can avoid grappling entirely, or they're fighting in a division where everyone else's grappling isn't much better. That's level 1 grappling. No technique, no fundamentals, just strength and desperation. And it works until it doesn't. Level 2. Level 2 is where we get to fighters who have really bad grappling, but they have some technique. It's not good technique, and it definitely has massive holes, but there's at least something there. Cyril Gane is the perfect example of level 2 grappling. Gane is a good kickboxer with some of the best striking at heavyweight, but his grappling, it's bad. His wrestling is horrible. His takedown defense gets exposed constantly against anyone with decent offensive wrestling, and once he's on his back, he struggles to get up. But here's where Gane separates himself from level 1. His jiu-jitsu is actually alright. He has submission wins on the ground. Against lower level heavyweights who don't have great grappling themselves, Gane can actually pull off submissions. The problem is, that only works against bad grapplers. Put Gane against Jon Jones, and his grappling looks completely helpless. Jones took him down with ease, controlled him effortlessly, and Gane had absolutely nothing for him. Level 2 grapplers have just enough technique to not be completely useless on the ground. Level 3. Level 3 is where we get to decent grappling. These fighters aren't going to wow you with their ground game, but they're competent enough to not get completely dominated. Their takedown defense is solid, they can survive in bad positions, and they have enough scrambling ability to get back to their feet when they need to. They're not finishing guys with grappling, but they're not getting finished either. Sean O'Malley is a great example of level 3 grappling. O'Malley is a striker, one of the best in the bantamweight division, but his grappling is way better than people give him credit for. He can defend takedowns from high-level grapplers and usually keep the fight on the feet. Against Aljamain Sterling, one of the best grapplers in the division, O'Malley was able to stuff the takedown attempts and keep the fight standing and win. That doesn't happen when your grappling's bad. And O'Malley's scrambles are actually really good. When he does get taken down, he doesn't just stay there. He's explosive, he finds ways to get back to his feet quickly. That scrambling ability is what separates level 3 from level 2. Level 2 fighters get taken down and controlled. Level 3 fighters get taken down and immediately start working their way back up. But here's what keeps O'Malley at level 3. He's not a threat on the ground. His entire ground game is defensive. Get up as fast as possible and get back to striking. And his takedown defense, while solid, isn't elite. An elite grappler like Merab embarrassed O'Malley on the ground and submitted him in the second round. Level 3 grapplers aren't easy to control, but it's all defense, all survival, all about getting back to where they're comfortable. Level 4. Level 4 is where we get to fighters with legitimately good grappling. These are guys with real credentials, proven technique, and the ability to dominate opponents on the ground. But there's something missing. Maybe they're elite in one area, but average everywhere else. They're good enough to build their entire game around grappling, but they're not complete enough to be truly elite. Bo Nickel is the perfect example of level 4 grappling. Bo Nickel has insane wrestling credentials. 3-time NCAA Division I national champion. On paper, his wrestling resume is as good as it gets. But here's the thing. That elite level wrestling doesn't translate perfectly to MMA. In a wrestling match, you're not worried about getting punched in the face while shooting. You're not dealing with cage awareness or guys using the fence to defend. In MMA, the dynamic is completely different, and Bo's still trying to figure that out. We've seen very average fighters able to defend his takedowns, and outside of wrestling, Bo is pretty mid everywhere else when it comes to grappling. His submission game is basic, his ground and pound is solid, but he's not finishing guys from top position consistently. His entire grappling game relies on that one specific type of wrestling he's mastered. Strip that away, and he doesn't have well-rounded grappling skills to dominate. That's level 4. You're legitimately good at grappling, maybe even world class in one specific area, but you haven't put all the pieces together yet. Bo Nickel could absolutely reach the next level. He has the foundation for it. But right now, he's a specialist who's still learning how to be complete. Level 5. Level 5 is where we get to the truly elite grapplers. These fighters are very good everywhere. Their wrestling is high level, their jiu-jitsu's dangerous, their scrambling's world class, and they can defend against the best grapplers in the world. They've built a complete grappling game that works against anyone, and they've proven it against championship level competition. Kamaru Usman is a perfect example of level 5 grappling. Usman has a great wrestling background. What makes him level 5 isn't just his wrestling credentials. It's how he's taken that foundation and built a complete grappling game around it. His takedown defense is elite. His offensive wrestling is suffocating when he wants to use it. And his submission defense, really good. The proof is what he did against Khamzat Chimaev. Usman took that fight on short notice, moved up a weight class, and faced one of the most physically dominant grapplers in the sport. And he defended better than anyone has against Khamzat. Usman survived a generational grappling talent in a weight class he doesn't even fight in. That's elite level grappling. Level 6. Level 6 is where we get to the absolute best of the best. These fighters are generational talents who've mastered nearly every aspect of grappling. They're dominant from top and bottom, they finish fights with submissions, and they make elite grapplers look ordinary. But there are still tiny weaknesses in their game. Small gaps that can only be exploited by the very best grapplers to ever do it. Charles Oliveira is a perfect example of level 6 grappling. Charles has the best jiu-jitsu in the UFC. Not just good jiu-jitsu, the best. He has the most submission wins in UFC history. It doesn't matter where the fight goes. Charles is dangerous, and that's what makes him special. But here's the small weakness that keeps Charles at level 6. His defensive wrestling against the absolute best. Islam Makhachev exposed it. Islam was able to take Charles down, control him, and neutralize his submission threats with world-class top pressure and positioning. That's the only thing separating Charles from level 7. Against 99% of the roster, his grappling is utterly dominant. He can finish anyone from anywhere. But against the top 1% guys like Makhachev, who have perfect combination of wrestling, control, and submission defense, Charles has a weakness. Level 6 grapplers are generational talents, but there's still one more level above them. One level where those tiny weaknesses don't exist. Level 7. This is the absolute pinnacle. The greatest grapplers in the history of the sport. These fighters aren't just elite, they're transcendent. They've brought a level of grappling to MMA that we've never seen before. Khamzat Chimaev is a grappling nightmare. His takedowns are unstoppable. It doesn't matter how good your takedown defense is. It doesn't matter if you're a Division 1 wrestler. It doesn't matter if you prepared specifically for him. He's taking you down. And when you're there, you're not getting up. Then there's Islam Makhachev. Islam might be the most complete grappler we've ever seen in MMA. He can take you down from anywhere. His trip takedowns are great. His wrestling's flawless. His submission game's elite. What separates Islam from everyone else is his completeness. He doesn't have a weakness on the ground. His wrestling's world class. His jiu-jitsu's elite level. He submitted Charles Oliveira, the best submission artist in UFC history. These aren't just great grapplers. These are the greatest we've ever seen. That's level 7.